Hello, hello. Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty, so hopefully you guys can see me, hear me. Hello, hello. Perfect. Okay. We are ready to roll. Sorry about that. I was a little bit panicking that we might not have a system, but working, but it's all good. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can get the camera. Have no audio. Can everybody else hear me? Hello, Christian. Okay, so oh shoot, I forgot who the person was, but I will text it. Hello, hello everyone. Welcome. Okay, so if I'm just gonna type, if anyone cannot hear, check your volume setting. There we go. So let's help those people out as well. Hello, Alexis. Hello, everyone in Nova Scotia. Thank you. Welcome. I think I got that right. So where's everybody else from? Anybody new here? New first time webinar? Oregon. Oh, they're going back. Hey, Ethel. Thank you, Ethel, for being here. Vancouver, all the comments are flying by so fast. Niagara Falls. So if I didn't catch you, welcome. Got a lot from Saskatchewan. We got some Quebec. We got Indiana, Toronto, Montana, Michigan, California, another Vancouver, Kansas, New Orleans, Wyoming, Boston. It's everywhere. This is exciting. Tampa, Florida. We got Florida. Regina, sorry, Regina. Charleston, no audio. Leah. Then we got the no audio ones too. Hi, Leah. Check your volume setting. Okay. So hopefully in Maritimes, perfect. Hi, Harmanjot. How are you from India? Welcome. I know you've attended other webinars as well. So welcome. This is being recorded. Yes, it is. Sorry if my camera's a little bit lopsided. Give me 1 second. I'm going to fix that. There we go. Okay. I did, and they all turned up full. Exit. Leah, exit and re-enter the exit and re-enter. Okay, will we get a replay? Yes, you will. Okay, yes, it will be recorded and sent out after your thank you. After we're done, you'll get a thank you email and it'll be sent out to you. So no worries. I don't have sound. So that's the second person doesn't have sound. So Jamie, please exit and re-enter. I hope we can help those people, but we need to get started. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We do have a full house today. Wow, we do. I'm just looking at all the attendees, and we do have a full house. Hello from Dallas. Hey, Jamie, welcome. Okay, so let's get started with the intense browns because it's really exciting, the intense browns, and we want to share that. Hi, Terry. And we want to share that excitement with you all, especially in the US. It's going to be a little bit more exciting for them because the tinting hasn't really had like a brand that's FDA compliant. So that's where the exciting thing is going to happen with the intense browns. We have no picture. Does everybody else have no picture? Here, I will pop up the PowerPoint. Can you guys see the PowerPoint? Let me know if you can see the PowerPoint. Okay, we can see it. So for those that are having some technical issues, because it looks like the majority are seeing it by the yeses, thank you. So you do have to click on the, as somebody mentioned, on your platform, there's a button to click the volume, but also sometimes some technical difficulties might freeze or whatever, and you might not see something. You can always refresh or exit and re-enter, okay? Jamie, welcome. Okay, Brenda, welcome everyone. Perfect. So now you can see it. That's awesome. Okay, so let's get started with the presentation because I'm going to have a live demonstration for you as well. Because what better way to understand the service or the system than by seeing it? Okay, so let's get started with the PowerPoint. My first question will be to you. Thank you. I had trouble getting in. Sorry. No worries, Katrina. I was glad you are in. So my first question to you would be, who is it today? Like you can say me. Who is it their first time here? Yes, if anybody else has any input to help people who can't hear the presentation, please let them know. I'm running out of troubleshooting. Okay, so there's a lot of people who it's the first time with RefectoCil, which is exciting. So you're going to be working with a manufacturer that is going to be true to its nature, like true to its product, true to its education support, everything. So you're choosing essentially, if this is what you go with and you go and you purchase the kit, you're choosing a brand that's going to stick by your side. Okay, so just not the intense browns, correct, Sylvia? Okay, awesome, which is great too. And you'll also see how the intense browns can help you carry both, because this is not going to replace the oxidative tints. Okay, it's going to stay the oxidative tints, but this is going to be a new addition to your salon and spa. Their sound setting. Okay, there is some people, there are sound setting up there trying those. Yes, try the settings for your volume. My partner has gotten kicked out. Will there be a recorded? Yes, there is a recording, Sarah, but just get them to come back in. It could be also internet on your end that has just, the platform maybe is using too much bandwidth and has kicked them out. They can try to come back in, but this will be available as recording. Okay, perfect. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for the support, for the help. Okay, so that's a great thing to know, because our first question that we get asked all the time is, why are you replacing the oxidative? We will not. Oxidatives have been around since 1950. They're going to stay in. They serve their purpose, but we do have now the new intense browns. Okay. Oh yes, we have reached the 200. Hi, Carol. So we've reached the 200. So we can't. They'll have to watch the recording. The rest. So if there's any concerns that you have, other estheticians and so forth, please get them to reach out to me, and I will send them the recording if they were not able to attend it live. Okay. So let's start with the PowerPoint. Let's try to keep the questions brief, because we are a lot of people here and I want to be able to answer them afterwards. A lot of the questions you will be able to see in the PowerPoint. Okay. So all your questions about colors and what makes the difference between oxidative and the intense browns, you will see it in this presentation. Okay, so by the name intense browns, you can see that it is an intensifying treatment. Okay, so you'll have to know also how to speak to your customer when it comes to this service. Who is it for and who might not be for, and what you can do to make it work for somebody who might be a little bit hesitant. Okay, so you're going to be able to create the most intense. No, it's not on lamination, Sylvia. It's on intense browns, on the tinting. So you can create the most intense looks with RefectoCil Intense Browns, and you can discover this new trend service, Brow Intensifying. And that is what you can use in your service menu. When you're calling the service, it's going to be called Brow Intensifying. It's the first FDA compliant brow and lash tinting system color additive. So the silver nitrate, which is the developer gel, that activator gel, that has become FDA compliant as a color additive, which still out there isn't a brand that has. I'm sure with now RefectoCil having one, more brands will come to have this available, but we are the first. So on that note, with if you're from California or if you're from New York, this product is really going to help you to get back started on those lash and brow styling services. If you're from a school, you can now start teaching these within your lash and brow styling courses or curriculum. So it's very, very important in the US, especially because in Canada, we don't have that issue. Tinting was allowed since 2005, so we've been okay, and the intense browns has been received okay by Health Canada. But in the US, it's a different story, and now we have something that could accommodate you from New York or California. Even just putting it on the service menu that it said tinting, you weren't allowed, you can get fined. So now you're using a product safely and properly. Okay, it lasts up to 6 weeks. So we say 4 to 6 weeks on the hair. But this system is meant to stain the skin. So you get about 7 to 8 days of it staining the hair. Okay, the skin, sorry, the skin, about 7 to 8. But that varies with your customer's skin type, oily versus dry. If they're oily, even with the oxidative, products don't tend to last long. If it is dry, products like tintings tend to last longer. So the question comes to play, what makes a difference between this and the original line? The original line, as we mentioned, is oxidative. You take the color, the tint, you take the developer gel, you mix it at equal parts, and then you create the color that you're going to be using to oxidize on the brows to help open the hair structure and to deposit within that hair structure. Okay, hello. So it will deposit. That's your oxidative, and then the hair follicle closes up, just like hair dye. The intense browns, the only portion that might open slightly your hair structure is the primer. There is a 3 steps to this, the primer, and it's very little. It's just that top part, not like the hair dye that can, or like the oxidative that can open up the whole structure. So just that top part, just to receive the staining properly. Otherwise, the intense browns is just coating your outer layer of your hair like henna. Okay, so it's staining the skin, it's a hybrid, it's staining the skin, but it's also coloring the hair. Okay, so it won't replace henna. I just see somebody's comment. Henna, the brand out there, has been established for years. Henna comes from a tree root. The coloring, our intense browns come from a variety of different plants that, when put together, help with that staining. Okay, so it's a variety of plants, and all this is on our website with the documents that you can print, download to see what the ingredients are. So now we understand what is the difference of the two system, oxidative versus intense browns. Now we understand that it's like a henna. Okay, we know that it will not replace the oxidative tints. Okay, so when you say last longer, Delia, what do you mean? So it stains the skin 7 to 8 days, depending on your customer skin type. You always have to educate your customer. We're giving roughly these timelines, or these, but you have to also let your customer know that this can make it not last as long. Okay, so it's all vegan as well. The brand, okay, the product. So it comes like this. If you get the whole kit, it comes like this on in a box with all the product inside and the instructions. Nope, you cannot mix the oxidative with the intense browns. Total different systems. You mix them, you have no results. Remain differently. One is for somebody that wants that penetration to the hair shaft. And the other one, also, intense browns, is great for people who are allergic. If they are allergic or have some sensitivity to the original oxidative tints, they're going to be going to this. If somebody is pregnant, they should be using this. If you're a salon that's organic, you should be using this. So basically, this will be really good for somebody that, if they are sensitive to the original, they could be using this one. Okay, so give me 1 second. Your questions will be answered, because the slides are coming up for all your answers. So we talked about no mixing, and when we say does it last longer, it's topical, so it varies on the customer, right? Because it doesn't penetrate into the hair shaft. Okay, so the wow effect. Let's look at the 4 different colors and to what clientele you can use these colors towards. As we mentioned, it is a intensifying treatment. Okay, so as you can see by the models, it's pretty there, like the look of the brows. So it's for no faint of heart. It's for somebody who wants that microblade or that feathery or that powdery makeup effect. Okay, the first one is your ash brown. Your ash brown has a very cool tone. It's not as dark as your deep brown or black brown. It's on the lighter side. Thank you, Christine. We all love it too. The ash brown is going to be good for that blonde type clientele, okay, that light haired, for lighter and natural looking results. And it's a cool and ashy shade of brown that suits neutral to cold color types. So if you have a customer that has the cool cool tone blonde hair, you're going to be using the ash brown. But if you have somebody that has warmth in their hair and wants their brows to reflect warmth as well, you will be using the chocolate brown. Okay, because it is for natural brunettes, but it has it's a medium brown shade with a slight warm undertone. So as you can see, the model, she has some auburn like in her hair. So then the chocolate brown will fit for that. Okay. Now you will see in the next other slides that you do have a primer. Your primer is your first step, and it comes in strong and medium. Now, it doesn't mean that if you go with the stronger primer that the staining is going to last longer. Nope, they both last the duration that we say. It's just that the intensity of the color will be much more darker if you use the strong. So basically, you can take the ash brown, use the medium primer for those who want a milder color, and use the same ash brown with the strong primer to even intensify that for your darker browed clientele, darker browed, darker haired. But you do have that nice wide range as well of colors. Your deep brown, as you can see for the model, is for dark brown results. So the pretty dark brown results. It's a particularly dark shade of brown for striking and eye-catching looks, as you can see the model, especially recommended for gentle facial features and dark hair. So if they have a gentle facial feature, yes, you can go for this look. If they have a more stronger facial feature, you don't want to go so intense with it. Okay. Can we get a digital media kit for our advertising and website? The photos are beautiful. We can always send you the link to the images for sure that you can use on your social media. At the end, I will have a slide that will tell you where you can go to reach me to be able to send you the link of the images. The images are pretty stunning. Yes, I agree. Mixing colors, they don't suggest, because you're only going to intensify it. So if you wanted a specific look and you took two colors and you mixed it, you might not get that look. You might make it much more intense. So you can try it by all means, but just be aware that it can get darker. Your black brown, as you can see with this model, it's like black brown. So it's for almost black and intense results. This is going to be used mostly on lashes. Yes, you can use this on lashes. So it's going to be much faster on lashes, the steps, because you're not using a primer. Okay. Your red choice, anything with warmth, is the chocolate brown. There is no red color like the original line that has a red or chestnut. You will use chocolate brown to give an illusion or a little bit of that more warmth look. They will work on more colors, but that won't be until the long run. It took since 2015 to create this and make it FDA compliant for the market. So might have to wait a little bit for more colors, but they are working on that. Is there a clear? I'm not understanding, Jamie. Like a clear, just no color? No, they're all based with color. And they all come out clear though. You don't see, that's another thing. And that's why brow mapping will come very, very into play with this. If the customer wants a contrast look like this model, that is when you can use the black brown. But her face, it's giving her a strong frame because she doesn't have a strong face frame, so it's adding to that strong face frame. So just be mindful of the client's face shape and so forth, so you don't make it too aggressive and still accommodate their look. Gray coverage, yes, it does cover gray hair. Yes, use the primer if you want even skin staining. If the customer has full brows where you don't see any skin, you can omit the primer. But if there's a lot of skin, patchy, and less hair, if you don't use a primer, it will come out patchy and it won't be even these skin staining. So let's look at some befores and afters. Beautiful, stunning results. You can see that it is a powdered makeup look or like a microblading. So if anybody here is a microbladist, this is a great product to carry to put as a service to your customers that are not sure if they want to do a microblading service. It does cost a lot. It also is invasive. So if your customer doesn't want to go through that, doesn't know if they want to go through that or invest in that, have them do this service, walk around for 4 to 6 weeks with it, see how they feel, and then they'll be like, okay, yeah, I want a microblading or a permanent makeup or whatever service you do, feathering or so forth. Okay. Yes, I will be doing a live presentation, Mary, with a model for sure. Then you have so the first one's the ash brown. The second one's the chocolate brown to have that warm. So you can tell a little bit, it's more warmer than the, you're welcome, than the ash brown. Then you have your deep brown. Her brows before obviously were beautiful, stunning, but that little bit of the sparseness in them has made it wash out because she does have this beautiful um, massive, beautiful hair, dark hair. Her brows get washed out and doesn't frame her face nicely or even give that freshness to her face. So look at it now with the pop of color on her brows, it adds to that freshness as well. And there's your last one, the black brown. It is a huge difference, Harmajot. Yes. Um, it's 1 hour, Jasmine, 1 hour. Can you use Latisse with this? We recommend with any of the RefectoCil services, lash lift, or are they using the Latisse on their brows? I know Latisse is used for the eyes, so you should avoid using it for 48 hours before getting the service. Okay. Afterwards, they can resume it after 48 hours. Okay. Also great for us who have micropigmentation and need a touch up. Exactly. And some people might not even go for a touch up. They just don't want to invest in it. They will be coming for this. Yes, if we save the questions at the end, that would be great because I can answer them during the demo and so forth. But we should leave the questions at the end because we are a lot of people and it's hard for me to reach to all the questions. So if we can, that would be great. If the client wants to bleach first, we do not recommend bleaching. They've tested it and the color will not come out properly. So no bleaching, avoid it. You can do it with the original, but not with this one. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you. And let me just thank you. I'm gonna answer the last question because it will help everybody. Can you use it with brow lamination? Yes, you can. A lot of hennas out there you cannot because the excuse me, the lash perm solution does not work well with the henna activator. So at the beginning, this was the same thing with this, but now they've tested it properly. As long as you remove all the solution from the brow hairs properly and dry the brow hairs, you're going to see that drying is an important aspect in all the RefectoCil product services now. But you have to make sure the hair is completely dry before we move on to applying the intense browns. If you do not clean it properly and you do not let the hair dry, it will not stain properly. It might not even show up the tint, the intense browns, or you'll have a lot of patchiness. Okay. So let's look at the next slide about the product. So you've asked about the primers. There's your medium primer and there's your strong primer. So obviously you can tell the difference by the coloring. It's lighter the RefectoCil, it's darker the RefectoCil, so that you know you don't mix that and pick up the wrong one when you're doing it to your customer. Always prep your station before so you choose the right product and not last minute and make that mistake because it will be a dramatic difference. Okay, so the primer for medium we said is for a softer effect for those who don't want to have it too intense, but it's also going to prepare the skin for that staining. A very important thing to do as well is to what's the word called, to exfoliate. Obviously find an exfoliant that has a very mild spheres. You don't want something that's too aggressive. That's something that is used for the face, but great for people who are also sensitive, because if they have flaky, dry skin, it's not going to allow the staining to be nice. So you can exfoliate that and have a nice fresh surface of the skin for the primer to evenly allow the staining. Okay, so a exfoliant can be part of your steps as well. Okay, so let's look at the 4 colors again. You already went through them, but that's what the tubes look like. Okay, so they all have that different shading from cool to warm to darker to black. So that's how your boxes as well will be shown, so you know which one you're picking up as well if you're not reading the name. And they're all the same sizes as your original tints. I think it was the 15 milliliter tubes. Yes, 15 milliliter tubes. So you could potentially, depending, we say out of the kit that you have the 4 colors. You can do 60 applications, which is great. We have revenue files for these that you can download on our website to see how much you can make back from one kit. So great revenue. I do suggest that after this webinar, if you're looking to purchase, buy the kit. If you start buying open stock, it will get as pricey because you need the primer, you need the tint remover that's designed for intense browns. You need to have whatever colors are going to fit your customer. So you end up spending just as much or more than the kit, and the kit will be better because you have everything you need. Okay. Chemical exfoliant on gauze for that prep. I wouldn't use a chemical exfoliant because that could still have some effectiveness, like on sensitivity on the skin. So just use a mild exfoliant, like a regular exfoliant. Um, I just feel the chemical one might be a little bit too harsh or strong. Can chemo patients have this service? For sure, chemo patients can have this. Thanks, Suzanne. I just don't want to miss out on these questions as well, but thank you for repeating that. Chemo patients are going to be the ones that are going to benefit from this because they are missing a lot of hair. Okay. Your step two. So even though you see on the slide, or even though you may see on our files that we have on our website, you'll see step 1, 2. It's essentially 3 steps. Because yes, the primer is optional, because for lashes, it's optional. But if, once again, I'll repeat it again, if they have a lot of brow hairs missing, they need to be using the primer to evenly stain the skin so you have that even coverage. So it becomes 3 steps. Okay, there's your activator. There's your hero, I guess you can say, of it being the FDA. Actually, you can come if you want. Actually, 5 minutes. Yeah, of being FDA compliant as a color additive, and it has silver nitrate, and you'll be able to use this to see the color to activate onto the hair and the skin. As I mentioned, each step is clear. So brow mapping is very important, and you do get a brow mapping pencil in the kit. And as well, I will be showing it today of the simple 3-point brow mapping. I don't go very extensive. I keep it simple so that you're staying within that brow mapping and you're not staining elsewhere, because the brow will reflect unevenness if you don't use brow mapping. Okay, so that is your activator. So as soon as your activator touches that skin that had the primer and then the color gel, instantly that darkens. Now, people might freak out and be like, oh my gosh, it's so fast. Do I have to rush? No, you don't, because even though we say the primer's 4 minutes, the activator, the color gel is 2 minutes, and the activator is 1 minute, you don't have to rush. It stops. It doesn't go progressive. Okay, so take your time because you are remodeling brows. So take your time. Accessories, you know, the eye makeup remover, you can use the same one that we're using for all of our RefectoCil services. We do have a new brow and lash foam, which is great and even gentle and great for people who are sensitive. And that foam helps to lift any of that makeup. These 2 products are universal throughout our whole RefectoCil line. The tint remover, though, please make sure you don't make this mistake when you're going to the distributor to purchase. The tint remover is not the same as the original. It says for intense browns. Remember, the original oxidative tint does not stain that skin as it would stain this. It shadows it and it goes away as soon as water's on there. So that's the tint remover from the original oxidative line you're sitting there rubbing your customer and making their poor skin raw. So make sure that you use the tint remover. And the brushes, the RefectoCil tool kits are universal. Everybody that, as soon as I started using them at webinars, love them. I suggest if you're going to buy the kit, purchase an extra set, because there is 3 steps and you only have 2 of the brushes. You have your brow mapping tool. The tweezers do not come into the kit because everybody has tweezers, but I do have to say RefectoCil tweezers are amazing. And then you have the brow mapping pencil. We sell out of these at the shows because they are smooth, they are pigmented, they have treatments in them as you're applying it to the skin. It can protect the skin, but the fact that it doesn't tug or pull the skin. When people try at trade shows, they're wowed and they buy extras to have them on site. Okay. And then your next products are your saline solution. Anything, if you sat in any of my webinars or you do any of the RefectoCil services, you know that the saline solution is the second step when cleansing. So if you're using the foam or the liquid eye makeup remover, you always follow through with the saline solution. You need to cleanse that area, degrease it from the makeup or if anything else was left because remember, we're staining the skin. We need a clean canvas. Your protection cream you can use as well to outline above the pencil, the brow mapping, because even though you put the brow mapping, if the color can stain through the brow mapping as well, so it's pretty intense. So you should put protection cream as well to stay within that brow mapping. Our Barista palettes, these are our top seller. We sell them out at the trade show. They fit right on the top of your hand. Your hands are free. You can hold the brow. You can design it nicely. They are beautiful accessories that RefectoCil has created. The eye care pads, learn to add value or to enhance your brow services. Give your customer an eye treatment. These eye care pads are immaculate. I use them, or they're amazing. I use them at home when I'm cleaning. I put them on and they do smooth out your skin and help with puffiness. So because those results are seen when you take them off, they're pretty pricey, these eye care pads. So add $5 to $8 in your service fee. So if you're charging for an intense brown service, you should be charging between $40 to $60 because it is a remodeling of a brow. You are sitting there being an artist and giving them a new brow. So add $5 to $8 into the $40 to $60, whichever you're going to choose. If you're choosing $50 for this, you're going to charge $58, so you can give them an eye care treatment. Your customer will love that. And then these are our care products, okay? Your styling gel, you should be using it after your service, and you'll see me doing it as well in the demo, okay? And the other aftercares, you've seen them in the other webinars. Sorry, you can come, I just said we had in technical issues at the beginning. Yeah. Okay, this is a very important. You can include the shaping. Yeah, you can include the shaping into that pricing because shaping is usually $12 to $15. A very important thing is to understand how to utilize the intense browns because not everybody will want a full brow technique. A full brow technique, as you can see, the brow is filled right from the beginning to the end, and so that you achieve that intensity. But if you have a customer that doesn't really want that, but needs to have skin stained, you can go with the ombre, and we'll show you that in today's live demonstration. The brow filling technique is just how the name says, filling. You're filling up area, so you're only brow mapping the area that needs to be filled. So if it's only the tail end, you will brow map the tail end and work within that, okay? So understanding these three techniques will really help you to extend it to much more clientele. If you're just catering just the full brow, you're going to maybe lose out on other clientele that does not want it so intense but needs that skin staining. So understand how to use all three techniques. Okay, so stalk us, please, on social media. This is a great kind of stalking. Please follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Sorry, it's RefectoCil North America. Follow us on Instagram. We have the main RefectoCil North America, and we have the training account Barista by RefectoCil. And this website here, you're going to get a wealth of more information on the intense browns, a lot more files that you can download and have for yourself in your salon and spa, protocols, profitability, and so forth. Go to that website. But you also have and I will put it in here, the email for the education center to ask any of your questions. So I'm going to put that in here. education@cbrngroup.com. So what I'm going to try today, and you guys can let me know if it's feasible or if you could see it. I was going to do it sitting up on the chair here, but I just have to see if the camera, if you guys can see okay, see the development of it. So I'm going to push the chair forward, have my wonderful model Kippy sit in. Everyone say hi, Kippy.
Hi.
Okay, hi. Everybody saying hi back. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to bring the camera closer to her brows, and you guys can let me, if it's me you can't see, that's okay. It is Kippy that we really want to see. We will go for a full screen. Yes, yes, yes. Let me center it. Ooh, here we go. And let's put it full picture. How is that? Is that better? It's great. Perfect. So you guys can see her brows. Can't wait to see how her brows is. We have the camera there. So you can see that her brows are, well, as Kippy says, non-existent. So it's perfect. What color do you think that I should be using? What primer and what color do you think I should be using? While you're answering that, I'm going to get my products ready. So let's see what you're saying. Uh-huh. Okay. Yep. You are all in unison. Perfect. It is ash brown and it is medium. Because as we can see with Kippy's hair, it is a cool tone. So we want to match the brows to that. Okay. So let's start with our prepping. Okay. I will show into the camera our product so that you can see if there's anything in the kit that it's not and you need to get it extra, you will know. The eye makeup remover is in the kit. So this is the eye makeup remover that we use for all of our RefectoCil services. Or as I mentioned, we now have the brow shampoo. Okay. So good. Everybody was in unison. Perfect. You guys were listening. Okay. So let's start prepping. So even if they come without any makeup, please do the prep work because we got environmental factors as well, sweat, the dirt, and so forth. But also, if they were to put, say, powder on the rest of their face, that powder can be transferred into the brow hairs. Okay, so obviously your prep will be faster because there is no makeup. Kippy, you can't reach the. Hold on.
What would you like?
Nope, I'll get it.
Oh,
I'll
here.
get it. I got it. Oh, you got it? Okay, there we go. You do have longer arms. I didn't realize. Okay, so I'm going to just bring the garbage bin closer. And now we're going to do the saline. So let me show you that one as well. And that's a saline, okay? Very important product to be used in all the RefectoCil services. So sometimes you might not have that being told to you at the distributorship. They might forget. So remember, if you're buying a lash lift, a lash curl, even the tinting, use the saline because it's degreasing everything. Your results will come out as they should with no interference. And it's also removing that makeup remover as well, okay? And people ask me, oh, well, can I just use contact lens solution? Nope, I had to do a little bit of research. And in the contact solution, there's some kind of enzyme that allows for the cleaning. So we don't want that to be interfering, okay? So we've done our prep. Perfect. So we've done the prep work. Now is the drying. So remember how I mentioned, actually, I will show you a little bit of, well, Kippy, your skin is not dry. I'm going to show them quickly a little bit of peeling. So when I mentioned that you should be using exfoliant, make sure that you choose one that is not harsh. The spheres are very tiny because you are working around the brow area. All I did is squeeze some of the one that I have onto my hand. I will take a Q-tip and I will just massage it into the skin area as well. So all you do is take the Q-tip and massage behind the brow area too, nice and gentle, but any of the skin area that you want to reach to, because if there's any flaky skin, we don't want that there. So I'm just doing it gently here for Kippy. Her skin's smooth, nice, but just to show you guys as well. So this will be an extra step if you feel that your customer needs that smooth skin in order for the primer to allow the staining to be even. You have a little bit of water, remove it, make sure all the spheres are away. We don't want anything in there that's going to be interfering with the service, okay? I'm gonna grab another cloth as well and just redo again the cleaning with just water. Or you can use a saline, okay? Okay, once we make sure all the spheres are off, now we allow the drying time. So as I mentioned, it's very, very important. Oh, there's a question. Would you wax before? Okay, what is that? It's just an exfoliant. It's not sold here, unfortunately. So it's just an exfoliant that was given as a gift to test out. But you can use any ones that are created professionally for the face, the exfoliant. And would you wax before, after? Yes, Marcy, exactly. After any hair removal process, whether it's waxing, threading, tweezing, thank you, afterwards, because you are going to create some kind of sensitive reaction with the pores being open and then putting the intense browns. Same thing goes with your oxidative tints. At the end, you can see the full brow, the full shape, and shape it even better, okay? Eyebrow tattoo, yes, it will work very well with people who have eyebrow tattoos and have discolored to very not nice coloring. Yes, you can use sorry, the intense browns. Okay, so I'm gonna get my fan. With all the services now, you will see that it's very important that you dry. So a lash fan will be very, very, very important to have to dry the hair areas. And we found with the manufacturer together that whether you're doing a brow lamination, whether you're doing a lash lift, in between your solution times, you have two sets of solutions, say for example, brow lamination and lash lift. When you do the lash perm and you remove the lash perm, dry the brows before you go to the neutralizer. Same with cleansing. We cleanse the brow area, it's wet. We need to dry it. If the hair is wet, it's not going to accept the next step evenly and properly. So we've noticed that this makes a dramatic difference in the intense browns. It is a must because then you won't have that even skin staining. Okay. An enzyme exfoliant may work better. Yeah, it should be fine, Sylvia. But make sure you cleanse that exfoliant afterwards. So I'm just gonna, yep, her brows look nice and dry. I'm gonna brush them over. Now with Kippy, she has wonderful brows at the beginning, nice full, up to the arch, to the tail end. We lose them out a little bit. So this is what this is what the magic happens with intense browns. We're able to give that full brow evenness. Where do we get the eyebrow dryer that was so cute? Okay, this one, plenty on Amazon. This one was from Premier Lash, the eyelash extension company, but as you can order Premier Lash or you can see it on Amazon as well. But the Premier Lash is really cute because it looks like the Dyson, right? It looks like a Dyson air dryer. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my primer. Step number 1, medium, okay? Sorry, my fingers are too fat. Okay, medium, okay? And I'm gonna squeeze my pea size amount. Now people have asked me, what is your amount? How much do you put? This varies on also your density of the brows. So your pea size will always keep changing. But I say always start less and then go with adding afterwards, as opposed to having any wasting product. Okay, so in our brushes, you get two types of brushes. You get your flat end and you get your narrow end. Your flat, you can tell I use them a lot. Your flat end brush is the one I'm going to use when I'm doing the primer and when I'm doing the colored gel, because I want to get it in there to the brows. And with the primer, you're going to go against the hair as well, because you want the primer to be able to sustain the skin properly. So if you had somebody with a lot more layered of hair, you got to put it against as well. The narrow one, what we find is much easier and precise when you're doing the activator, because it starts to stain right away. You need to have that precision. So the narrow one helps with that. Okay. So let's start applying. Remember how I mentioned the gels are clear. Up until all 3 gels are clear until the end. When you apply the activator, you'll see it darkening. Okay. So, this is what we forgot. What did we forget before we put it on? Now, you don't necessarily have to do this at the beginning step, but I actually like doing it at the beginning and then reattaching it after. What are we missing? That would be the step now. You guys are good. Brow mapping. Yep, that would be the step now. So let's show you how you would do the steps. From the bridge of the nose, try not to go too way out of the corner, because that means you might bring the brow a little bit out more. Hit it slightly on the bridge of the nose, straight up. So let me grab a brush instead. So hit it right there, and we know the brow is going to start right there. As they're looking straight, so yeah, straight at the corner of their iris and the corner of their nose, that's where your arch would be. The corner of their nose to the corner of the eye. As you can see with Kippy, we're going to extend it a little bit more to bring it out more. Okay, once you have those 3 points, then you can connect it. With Kippy, we're not doing too much of a skin staining, because as you can tell, her hair is much lighter. So we want to not make the brow too thick and give her that contrast that might not be accommodating. So we're going to connect it. And right now Kippy can even say, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on, and the pencil is coming out nicely, and it's not tugging the skin whatsoever. You just connect it. So can you guys see in the camera? I just connected the brow. So we're going to do the same thing with the other side. And then we're going to work within. Look straight within the line. Draw within the lines. My mom always yelled at me. Yeah, straight. Even if you're looking at me straight, because I got to put it at the corner of your iris. My mom always said, "You never draw within the lines." I struggled. So how am I doing now? No, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to connect. Obviously, the advanced brow mapping can be done, when you see the string and so forth, if you're working with a brow that needs to be completely remodeled. I can see gray hair on gray hair. I can see the hair on Kippy. I can see, all her hair. So I don't have to do all that extensive lines everywhere. This 3-point is perfect. Now I did see somebody's question, so let me just see before we put the primer on. My brushes fell apart as in the ends fell off. I tried gluing them back on, but it's not great because the glue, they don't fit in. Oh, you mean the top of the head came off? Like the top of this part came off? When you're disinfecting, try not to pull. I noticed that when I disinfect, if you're in Canada with the wipes, with the pre-amp wipes, I tend to go a little aggressive, and yes, you will get it off. So try either to use a spray to soak it and then let it dry. But if you're rubbing with the wipe and you're trying to clean out between the brushes, you will lift it. Otherwise, now I've learned to be more gentle, and they've lasted a long time for me. Okay, hopefully that will work for you guys. Okay, so let's start putting now the color gel. Okay, so we're going to follow within the lines. Okay, and make sure that that skin area that has more skin, you can even go against. And saturate it enough that you see the product there. If it's going to have much thicker, fuller brows, you'll have to apply more than what we're applying now with Kippy. But you need to be able to see the product there. Okay. So I'm just going against as well. And making sure I get the tail end. Remember, we extended it a little bit more to give her a tail end. Perfect. Now we're going to do the other side. Will this be the full brow? Ombre. We're doing the ombre. And we're doing the primer now. Correct. Yes. So step number 1. So remember how I said like it's marketed step number 1, step number 2, like the color gel and the activator? Well, technically you'll have 3 steps when using the primer. Okay. I'm just making sure I get the tail end. You can go against. Okay, so our timer will go on for 4 minutes. Okay. So let's set that up. And then during that 4 minutes, you can prep your next step. Once again, you don't need to go longer than 4 minutes. That timing stops afterwards. Yes, it is medium primer. Oh, if I put straw on Kippy, I would hear from her. We do not share far apart offices. We share close enough offices that she'll remind me every day. So just medium primer for her, yes. All gels are clear. Yes, when they come out, they all look like this as a clear gel. Okay, so that's why the brow mapping is going to play an important role, because you're not seeing, nothing is activating. As you can see on Kippy's brows, nothing is there still. It's just the wetness from the of the product. And then the third step, which is the activator, as soon as you touch it onto the hair, that's when it takes the color. Now, does your lovely model feel anything? Kippy, do you feel anything at the moment?
No.
No. But on the other hand, yes, it is vegan. Yes, it is gentle because we talked about the concept of it not roughening the cuticle, but you still should do a patch test because some people have allergies even if you just touch them.
But there's no stinging or anything.
No stinging. No. She
No.
said no stinging, smooth. If a customer might feel that, it could be from the exfoliant, the type of exfoliant that you chose. That's why I always suggest, even when we did it on Kippy, it was a very mild, thin spheres of exfoliant. Okay. If you apply, okay, let's see, there's some questions. How will I be able to access the recording video? It will be sent to you after in a thank you email. You will need to download it directly or else you won't be able to watch the full portion of it. You have to download it to your desktop. Otherwise, we put it on our website, RefectoCil Education, and we put it under webinar recordings. Okay. Would regular tint work on tattoo eyebrows? Regular tint would work, but if the tattoo is so, what's the word called, predominant, like it's too strong, that color, and you're not getting that skin staining, with the oxidative tint, you'll still be seeing the background of that different color. With the intense browns, you will not. You will get that full coverage, so you're not seeing the blue or the purple or the red tattoos that are now fading into red. Okay. Can we do the service someone who's Accutane? I did ask this to the manufacturer. They didn't see that they're with Accutane. You need to stay away with any treatments that you do on the brow. You treat it like waxing because the skin is very, very, very sensitive and anything can irritate it. So I would suggest no, even if it's a plant-based. But if you want to test it out, please do a patch test, even with those who are taking Accutane. The skin is very sensitive and anything can trigger it. Otherwise, wait till they're done their Accutane treatment and then they could come and do this service. Did you keep it heavier on the end, make it more ombre? So with the ombre effect, you evenly put the primer. Okay. It's the last step of the activator that we're going to switch our brush and use the other end of the spoolie, and you will see. Sorry, if I miss any questions, you repeat again, because there's so many coming through now that if I miss any on the top, please remind the question again. Okay, so our timing is going to be up in 52 seconds. The tint, okay, so what's the difference between oxidative tints? Oxidative tints are actually going to penetrate into the hair follicle. It's going to open up the hair structure, it's going to deposit in, and it's going to seal. And that's why we say there's a roughening of the cuticle and why people can be sensitive. The intense browns does not open the hair structure. The primer slightly the first level, and that's it. Otherwise, it coats the outer layer, and that's why you will have less allergic reactions or no allergic reactions, okay? For perfect. Yes, Marcy, you will be able to watch the recording. Thank you so much for being on here. Okay. Do you have the brow lamb? Nope, I do not have the brow lamb on Kippy. But if I were to do the brow lamination, I would do that first, clean the area properly, dry the hair properly, and then do the intense browns. And the intense browns timings will stay the same. Pause your questions for a second. I am going to go now to the step of removing the primer. 4 minutes is up. Okay. And I'm going to remove that primer. I'm going to try my best to keep the brow mapping on there, but if it's the brow mapping comes off too, you can repencil it again. Okay. Be pretty accurate with removing this. Our room is a little dry, so it's dried off. But make sure that there's nothing on your Q-tip. If you have to go against as well. And now you're going to do your drying time, but the lash fan is going to help you. So the drying time is dry Q-tip, dry. Lamination first, then intense browns, but dry Q-tip. Everything you remove is dry. If you put wet, you're going against everything and you're not going to have the services work properly. 24 hours after is the aftercare. They can get wet within 24 hours. That's why I'm very limited even when I remove it, and when I clean afterwards the color, I use very little water. Okay, I don't want to drench the brows. So we're going to accelerate the drying time. The drying time is 4 minutes in between each of the steps. But in order to cut down your 8 minutes of drying times to make your service maybe slightly a little bit faster, in order you can fit some time to take them over to the retail section, tell them about the retail products, sell them the styling gel or so forth. Use the brow fan and you can dry it faster. Okay. And you can feel after that the hair is dry and ready. Once again, if it was wet, your next step would not be accepted properly. Okay. Okay, yeah, so the aftercare is 24 hours, no makeup, no oils, no saunas, no hot tubs, no swimming, even the gym, just be careful with too much sweating because you don't want that color to fade within that 24 hours. Okay, so her brows are nice and dry. I didn't have to wait the full 4 minutes. That was literally probably just 1 minute. And now we're gonna go to step number 2. So make sure that your brushes that you used for step number 1, you don't mix them and you get a brand new bowl to go step number 2. Step number 2 will be your base gel, which is the, sorry, it's a little blurry, it's the ash brown, okay? At what point during a lash lift? At the end, okay? At the end, after you've cleaned off the lash lift, then you do the intense browns. Contraindications, you're not going to really have much with this because it is a vegan base, unless they are really sensitive to plants as well. But you shouldn't have any contraindications. So far, everybody we tried at trade shows and models, nobody has felt anything or had a reaction. The only time I did is because the exfoliant that I was using was a little too harsh. And that's why I always make sure that your exfoliant is not harsh. Okay, so once again, clear color gel. This one's more thicker than the primer. The primer is a little loose. So step number 1 was 4 minutes. Drying time 4 minutes, or if you have a fan, you accelerate it faster. Step number 2 is 2 minutes. The color gel will stay on for 2 minutes. So we'll take another brand new brush with the flat end, and we're going to start applying it in within the lines. Okay. If you want to use the narrow brushes throughout the whole time, you can. There's no rule, but we just found that when you're doing the primer, the narrow brush helps with the even application. So once again, be generous like you would have your previous step. Gonna apply on the other side now. So when we do the step number 3, the last step, that's when you're going to see the ombre effect that we're going to try and do. Yep, you will get, thank you guys for responding to that. That's helpful. Yes, you will get an email copy of the recording automatically after the webinar ends. So I'm just applying a little bit more. I just ran out a little bit. As I always say, start with less, add more if you have to, and you don't waste product. Okay, we're gonna set the timer for 2 minutes. And start, okay? So let's see what questions you might have had. Okay, so do you find it easier to apply when client is laying down or sitting up? So what we suggest with the intense browns, because it is an intensifying treatment and we want to have our customers engaged and watching to see the service, sitting up is better so your customer is in front of a mirror and watching what you're doing so that they could see the results, the steps as well to when it's intensifying. So sitting up is better for the brow. If you're doing a combo of a lash lift and a brow, I would say, they can't see, their eyes are covered. You should have them laying down more comfortable. Okay, because you can be able to do a lash lift and an intensifying brow treatment at the same time while the solution's on the eyelash, eyelashes, start with step number 1 on the intense browns. But I would suggest you practice this first with models before you get into doing it to your customer, because the timing is what you need to factor in, how to go to one to the other and factor your timing correctly. Don't panic that the solution's on the eye has to come off and so forth, right? The great thing that I mentioned is that with intense browns, the timings do stop at what they say they are. So they're not progressive. So you do have that leeway to go to the lashes and fix the lashes first before you come back to the brows. Okay, so how do I clean my brushes? Well, I'm in Canada, so disinfectants vary with the US and Canada, but in Canada, we use the Preempt RTU wipes. Obviously, you're going to clean first any of that debris out of the brushes, like the gel and so forth, and then disinfect them with the RTU wipes. Alcohol is universal, so in the US and Canada, if you're using alcohol, you can as well. Just be fine if you don't use a more gentler product. The brushes can also fade faster, like the bristles of the brushes can disintegrate faster. But alcohol is universal. Okay, so we're going to remove step number 2. What is the average price? As I mentioned, you can charge between $40 to $60 because it is a remodeling service. You are redesigning a new brow. You are taking that time to create that brow according to your customers' liking and filling in those gaps and so forth. So it's a more, I would say, an expertise service, a more artistic service. So you could charge more. So we say between 40 to 60, depending on your demographics. So I'm removing the color gel and just making sure I don't have any of that product in there still. So you can see I even went against. Perfect. We're going to do the other side. Yep, you got the step right. Primer, color, and then activator. That's the order of the product. Perfect. So now if you have to Q-tip is dry. Always is dry. In any of the RefectoCil services, when you have more than one step, dry, 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 no water. Okay? Yes. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to see if I have to connect, if anything came off. Actually, the majority of it stayed well. Just down here, I had to connect it. But otherwise, it stayed properly. I tried to stay within. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to do the magic part. The magic part.
Dry first.
Oh, we have to dry. Thank you. See, I was quizzing Kippy. So she got it. She got it. We have to dry first. Well, it's gonna dry. It's pretty dry in here, but yeah, we're gonna put the accelerated. So instead of 4 minutes, it's literally just 1 minute with the fan. But once again, the density of the brows varies, and that's why you can touch it a little bit or use your brush, use your spoolie, like a brand new one, and just brush the hairs to make sure that they're not clumped together so that the drying can be evenly distributed. Okay, there we go. How long do you recommend booking for the services? Do not do not to do, because we do say that it can last 7 to 8 days in the skin. So people think, okay, I'll have my customer come back every 3 weeks. What can happen, and we actually had this happen to somebody, is that if you're doing it every 3 weeks, the color will not stick anymore to the skin. So I would suggest beyond 4 weeks, 4 to 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, get your customer to come back in. The earlier you do that, the more Kleenex. Let me go get one.
Oh, thank
I
you.
don't have a tissue box, but yeah. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Ooh, sorry. Yes,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Okay, so as I was mentioning, don't do it before 4 weeks, okay? So we haven't put the activator yet, but her brows nothing has changed yet, right? Because we haven't put the activator yet. So we allow the drying time. So I'm just gonna brush them. And now we're gonna do the activator, okay? Brand new bowl and your narrow end brush. And I will show you. The activator has a gray color to it. Remember how I said you can see everything differently even by not reading the name on it? They've colored it so that you don't make that mistake. Nope. Second step was color gel. Now we're going to the activator. And once again, the activator is clear. And there's a tip that you should remember for the activator, and I will show that to you. So once again, it's clear. But hopefully with the camera view, you will see how quick it starts to activate. Now, because I'm going to talk less when I'm doing this, I want to tell you the technique with the brow lamination. So I'm going to start applying it with the narrow part, okay? And I'm going to start from the ends, applying it slowly, not rushing it. As soon as I start reaching to this portion, like where she has more denser hair, I'll start to bring in some of that color, and I'm going to switch my spoolie around. I'm going to switch my brush around to the spoolie side and start bringing that coloring here and slightly buffing it. If I were to do that with the brush part, I'll be touching too much of the skin and I won't be able to get that ombre look. So that's where you have to switch into your spoolie, okay? So let me start. Okay, and you guys can see right away in the camera the color intensifying. Okay, so you can see that right away darkening. So another tip is do not go back into your bowl and grab more activator with the same, like with this product still on it. Wipe it off, either if you have a glove on, a tissue, wipe it and go back in fresh, or else that color that's darkened is going to oxidize what's within there and you won't have accurate results. Okay, so every time you have to go back in and dip, clean your brush. Sorry, can you turn this a little bit? Thank you. Okay, so now I've reached the beginning of the brow there where I want to get the ombre look. And this is right now where you can brush, get from this color gel, and just get the hair colors. So I'm taking some of that color gel and I'm brushing the hairs. So you see that, how it's a subtle, it's really hard to tell, but you see the degradation, like it's darker towards the ends, but at the beginning it's lighter. So that's what I did. I grabbed from the gel and I slightly buffed on the beginning. I won't do any more because that's all we need. I'm just going to do this here. Perfect. Okay. You guys can see that. So I don't need to, I can do one brow at a time. People have asked me, or I could just go and I could do the other side because as we know, that will be not progressive after the minute. So let's start doing the other side. Tilt a little bit. No, yeah, like that. Thank you. So now you can see why the narrow brush can be helpful in being a little bit more precise. So I'm going to clean my brush so that I don't have any of that color on it that's already oxidized. So remember how I said as soon as you touch that skin, that hair that have already had the primer and the color gel, it instantly. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to grab some more of the primer just to wet that area. Okay, so the timer's up on the other side, which is fine. I'm just trying to get this area wet so I can grab from it and pull. So switching my spoolie. Okay. Okay, so I'm just making sure that it has a similar coverage to the other side. Did you have a little bit back? Yes, thank you. Perfect, so we're gonna leave it at that. Oh, pause all good. I think activator form, is anyone else paused? Is anybody else paused? I just didn't talk, so maybe you thought I was paused. I wasn't talking. Otherwise, it is. As we mentioned, the activator is just 1 minute. Okay, so now I'm gonna remove the side. You can put a little bit of water to this. Don't go crazy. Don't dampen it too much. Okay. And we're going to remove. And then this is where you're also going to start to soften. So you don't have any of that, what's the word called? Like abrasive stop of the brow where you want to go ombre. So you just have to soften a little bit. And if you had to go into the tint remover, you can. You can grab a little bit. Just don't go too crazy with the tint remover, just because you don't want to uneven it, right? The look. So if you want to soften any of the harsh areas, I like to do it with the Q-tip. There we go. So I put some on a Q-tip, so I have a less of a canvas wet, and you can soften areas with that. Okay, so that your ombre flows better. Okay, so there you can see that. Yes, remove a little bit of water on the pad. I did a little bit of water. Amazing. Oh, perfect. So you guys can see the results. Let's remove the other side now. So a little bit of water. And we're going to do the same thing, softening it like we did on the other side, just to give it that evenness, okay? And that's why I like using the Q-tip, because I can get into the areas where I want it to soften. So I'm going to do first with the water to remove the bulk of the activator, and then I can take my Q-tip and soften it, okay? So let me do that with the Q-tip. Do you have to be super precise, or the wax will remove some of the because it stains really well, even the waxing might not get it all out. So I would be super precise. Yes, yes. And brow map. Yeah. You don't want to be like, with the oxidative tint, you can get a little, I hate using the word sloppy, but you can get a little bit not precise. But with this, you need to be, because if your customer doesn't have a nice even brow or even look, they're going to complain. It's going to make their look more aggressive, right? If it's not even. And then you're sitting there correcting most of the time, because it does stain the skin pretty. Like even during the service, when you're applying the activator, you touch an area you shouldn't have touched, go clean it right away, because you'll sit there softening it a lot more than you should. But for me, I'm just softening the gradation of the ombre. That's it. I'm just using the other side to dry it. But your brow mapping will be your best thing to keeping the brow even. Okay, so now that I know everything's good and dry, so the inner brow, if the camera's not showing it to you, but it is, her hairs are there, but it's ombre look. It's a little hard to see that in the camera. If you felt that your customer wanted them more visible, you just go back and put the activator on, the color gel and the activator, okay? It's just that the camera's a little bit, like I can see her brows here with me, like I could see them. So, but for you guys in the camera, it's showing it differently because I can see in the camera too that it's showing it differently than how I'm seeing it. Oh, you can go closer there. You see the hairs? See the hairs? Oh, I'm pointing it there. Where are we? So the hairs at the beginning there. And you can see that the color is ash, nice and ash. Can you guys see that better? So you can see which brow is this? This one. You can see the hairs right there. Do you see that? So it's a little bit when she's further back, I think the lighting changes too. You can see that? Okay, perfect. Yeah, when she sits back, the lighting changes it completely. Yeah, but like I said, you can even just the area here, soften it even a little bit more if you feel to even it out. But otherwise, when she came close to the camera, it was perfect. And you can see her tail end. That's what the thing was with Kippy. We could see her tail end. There we go. Okay, and let me dry it too a little bit just before I put the style. Actually, don't need to dry it with the styling gel. I'm just gonna brush it. And the last step would be to apply the styling gel. Okay, to just protect, hydrate, condition, and also a great hero retail product for your customer to take home and use. It can be used in so many different ways. I use it in the summer because I love being by the water and the sun to protect my lashes and brows. So it's got many great qualities. So add that to your retailing products. So I'm just squeezing a little bit on my hand there, and I'm taking my brand new spoolie because we don't want to double dip. And I'm just gonna put it on. Okay, and once that it's applied on, there is your final look with the intense brown. So let's see, can you correct it if after by putting oh my gosh, you can correct it. Sorry, the comments are going up. You can, oh, camera isn't picking up. Oh, the camera isn't picking up. Yeah, thank you. That's why you can't see the hairs. It's just too far back, and then the lighting gets darker. But as she goes closer to you, you can see the nice ash part in the hairs. Can you see that? It's just that she was too far back in the lighting, everything changes. So hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, perfect. Yes, they can. Kippy has to get right in there, Kippy. Right in the camera. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So there was some questions. If you can repeat it again, yes, you can. If you felt that there were some areas that didn't take on, you can go back. As long as you got the primer part nicely saturated, you can go back just with the color gel. Put the color gel on. I can put your glasses on. Put the color gel on, and then put the activator. Okay. What was the other question? Does the stained skin fade evenly after the 7? Kippy, have you found that it fades for you okay, or do you get some kind of patchiness? Sometimes it's great to ask your customer too. So that you know.
Like after about a week, I'll need to fill in with a brow pencil.
The part that's on the hair. Yeah. So we do say 7 to 8 days between.
No, the part that's on the skin.
Skin. Yeah. We do say 7 to 8 days on the skin.
Here.
So she's noticed that in areas she'll need to touch up after that, say, week, which is about 7 days. She'll notice that she has to fill it back in with a pencil. But we do mention that it only stays on the skin 7 to 8 days, 4 to 6 weeks on the hairs. But even a week of having your brows not having to fill them in saves a busy person a lot of time,
and
right?
it's not completely filling in. It's just touch up.
Touch up,
Yeah.
touch up, a stroke here, a stroke
Yeah,
there.
a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, gorgeous brows, Chrissy, on a lovely model. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Great demo. Thank you. How long does the color gel stay on and the activator again? So we have 4 minutes primer, 2 minutes the color gel, 1 minute the activator, 4 minutes drying time in between, but you have the fan. You will be getting all the protocols to this. So don't worry, in the thank you email, you get all the protocols. So I'm going to read one more question before we have to end because we did go over time with the technical difficulties. I may have missed. Okay, now there's a lot of questions. Okay, so any questions that you have after this, I did put the education website. I will go back to the PowerPoint because there's way too many questions that have just slipped up. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. Here you have RefectoCilEducation.com. Please email me any of your questions, but you might find those answers in all the files that you'll get afterwards. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're able to be here, join today and watch this wonderful transformation on brows. And we hope you're excited to use Intense Brows within your salon and spa. And we're always here to help. So thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.